Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever it is for you. Welcome back to another Division 2 video. My name is Prime and today I got another banger of a build video for you. This is my updated healer build. Yesterday I showed you my updated DPS build and these are the two builds that we use to shred through the Incursion, helping out the community, trying to carry them, getting them their Ouroboros, or at least getting them their first clear. And this is just the best healer for the Incursion, as it not only heals you but also boosts your damage output, or better said, damage output for the whole team. But without further ado, enough intro, enough gameplay, let's dive right into the build and let's see what we changed about the setup from last time. And this is the build, this is the updated healer build and will definitely help you out, keeping your team alive and of course giving them a boost as well, because this is not only a healer build but it's also a boost build. So let's go over everything, starting with our specialization, and we're using the survivalist specialization. Why are we using the survivalist specialization? Mainly for the 15% extra outgoing healing that will help your team out a lot, but it also gives our team an extra 10% damage output to enemies that are affected from a status. We all know a lot of us are running around with that Elmos, you got that shock going, and then you'll do an extra 10% damage. But there is more to it, but I will explain it when we come to our weapons. And let's start with our weapons. Starting weapon, it's the Scorpio. It's just one of the best guns to run around with. It will give you a boost. It will apply the status effects, so the whole team will have an extra 10% damage upon that enemy. And of course, if we scroll all the way down, if you hit those 7 pellets, they are getting an extra 20% multiplicative damage upon them, and that's why the Scorpio is the must-have for a healer build. Then over to my secondary, and that's going to be the Lefty. I didn't roll it anyway, I just kept it this way. As you can see, I can still optimize my attributes on there, but I mainly use it for the perfect sledgehammer. Dealing damage with a grenade applies a mark on the targets, and targets with a mark will take 40% more damage to armor and have 30% less movement speed. And mark will disappear after 10 seconds. So if you go to the middle, especially on the lovebirds, if you go to the middle, when they stand there, switch over to your lefty and then throw a fire grenade. Yes, a fire grenade, as then your whole team does 40% extra more damage to armor because of that perfect sledgehammer, and the enemy has minus 30% movement speed, and that helps out a ton, especially on Johnson, because Johnson likes to dodge and run around sometimes. So that fire grenade is one thing to definitely add to this. And that's another reason why we're running around with that survivalist specialization, as we can get that fire grenade. Then jumping over to my handgun, and again, on most builds, if it's not a pistol build, you can choose whatever you like. Go for something that you do not have proficient yet, because that will save you time in farming for duplicates and of course donating materials. So let's jump over to the build itself. We are using Future Initiative. This is the must-have for most healer builds if you don't go for a hybrid build with a tank, for example. But we just go straight for 3 DPS and 1 healer throughout the whole Incursion. We started with a tank back in week 1, but we changed it up real quick with that healer. And why? Because this healer doesn't only heal, but also gives them an extra damage output. As the 4 pieces activates ground control, increases you and your allies' total weapon and skill damage by 15% at full armor. When you repair an ally, you and all allies within 5 meters of you are also repaired for 60% of that amount. And that's why it's very, very important to stand close to each other, especially on the lovebirds. Maybe one can stand on the left side, but the other 3 have to stand on the other side than the right side. So if you're close to each other, then you will get heals and even more heals upon heals because your teammates are getting healed as well. And that will keep you alive. We changed a few things and we went for fully repair skills. There are no skill haste on there. There is no hazard protection on there anymore. It was kind of needed at the start, but now it's not needed anymore. Just go for straight heals and go for repair skills on every single piece of gear and your mods. So the same I did for my holster, skill tier, repair skills, knee pads, skill tier, repair skills. And then for the chest piece, we did exactly the same. We went for repair skills and a repair skills mod on there. But why for the chest piece? Because this increases our damage bonus from 15 to 25%. That's why we're using this. This is not only one of the best healers within the game or one of the best healers within the Incursion. It will also boost your damage output of your team quite a lot, and that's why we like to use the Future Initiative healer. Next to that, we're running around with the backpack Uzina Getica, the named one, the setup. You could go for Alps, as that will give you a little bit more repair skills or a little bit more healing, but we are choosing the setup because this comes with perfectly opportunistic. Enemies you hit take 15% more damage from all sources. So that means that it's multiplicative damage, and the normal opportunistic is only 10%. So losing a 5% multiplicative damage for everybody on your group, in my opinion, or in our opinion, it is not worth it. Preferably for the attributes, as I have hazard protection and skill damage on there, it doesn't do anything for me. Preferably, I would love to see some skill haste, some repair skills, something like that on there. So again, we chose to go for repair skills mod, but if you feel too squishy, you could go for a 1 protection from elite mods as well, as that seems to stop the last little bit of health instead of you getting a one-shotted. And that's why we chose to go for the Uzina Getica. This also gives you a little bit more of survivability with that extra 5% armor. And then for the last piece that is needed on this build, because this will help your team out a lot, and those are the BTSU gloves. Why the BTSU gloves? Of course, they come with skill haste and repair skills, the ones that we're looking for, but we're doing it for the talent on there. Transfers Overclock grants 15% hive skill haste per skill tier, so we're gaining an extra 90% hive skill haste, of course, for myself. But then, if we detonate the hive, refreshes your skills cooldown and grants overcharge for 15 seconds. If at skill tier 6, this also applies to all of your teammates, and that's why this is so overpowered. It doesn't only give back the revive hives that your teammates maybe lost, but it also overcharges their skills. As I explained yesterday, we are running around with the firewall specialization as well, and one of our teammates is running around with that striker shield. We all know if you stand behind that striker shield, you will have an extra damage boost, but if you overcharge, that damage boost even gets higher on that shield. Every time that you run to the middle on the lovebirds, then make sure that your teammates are standing behind the guy that's using the striker shield from the firewall specialization, overcharge, and you have so much extra damage. It will definitely help you out. Beam Johnson and hopefully Martinez in just one try, and that's why we're using the BTSU gloves. And that's pretty much the whole overview of the build. Of course, we are using the healing hive, the Restorer Hive. This has 36 charges, it has almost 13 meters of range, and it does a healing of 400k per pellet. We all know that the armor is around 700 to 800k on a red build, so with 2 charges you are healed fully and you can start shredding enemies again. I chose to go for 5% healing, 4% extra repair charges, and 10% health as the mods on there. Then for my secondary, of course, this is our chem launcher, our reinforcer chem launcher. We have 9 ammo on there, and every time that I shoot an ally, they will get repaired for 1.4 million, and this goes crazy fast. It will have a repair overtime of 271, so you might want to stand in the cloud a little bit longer, but this will help your team out. If you are the healer and you have the hive on the left side of the map and somebody is in trouble on the right side, you can just shoot that chem launcher towards them. You will heal them up fully and they can start beaming down their enemies again. Going over to the mods, I use 7.5% heal and 1 extra ammo on the chem launcher. And that's pretty much it. I can show you the stats, but it doesn't really matter because I already showed you what it's all about, and those are the skill stats. And of course, don't forget, make sure to all run a different specialization, especially the demo, the survivalist that we're running right now, the sharpshooter from some extra headshot damage, and of course that firewall for that shield to do the extra damage. And of course, if allies are standing within 10 meters of you, they're gaining another 10% damage buff. And those are things that you need to think about as well. But that's pretty much it. Hit me up in the comments down below what you like about this build. Are you using this build as well, or are you changing a few things? I would love to know how you run it, and of course let me know if you defeated the Incursion already and did RNGesus or Lucifer bless you with that Ouroboros. And if you're still here, you are a freaking legend. Thank you very much sticking until the end. Thank you very much for that support. If you liked the video, like this video. And of course, if you're new here, you want to be updated about the Division universe, Division 2, and the future Division 3, make sure to hit that subscribe button as well. And I will see you in the next video. PurePrime out.